Good. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you everyone for joining me today. And today I'm going to share with you some news. The first one is the news in NewYorkPost.com, and the title is called "You could become immortal in the metaverse with the new live forever mode." Um, yeah, this one is very interesting. It's in Solomon Space. Yeah, Solomon Space is kind of like a place where um, if you go to Solomon Space, right? Yeah, it's one of the largest. Right now, we have big four. Decentralized decentralized place for people to join, right? And Solomon, Somnium is also one of it. So pretty much you can join it. And the interesting thing is that I think it partner with Ready Player Me, so you can upload your photo and create a new avatar. And it has virtual reality viewport and also builder and marketplace. Yeah, so if you go to this site, you can see a lot of very cool stuff from 2D to 3D, different types of, it's kind of cross platform, right? And I think Live Forever, this one is pretty scary. It reminds me of Black Mirror, right? I remember in Black Mirror, it has one episode called Be Right Back. This one is very cool, which the woman's husband got or fiance got car accident and died. So she couldn't get off this. So she find an AI company and upload all her fiance's social media data, upload to that AI agency, and it creates another AI human for her. And everything is creepy and weird. I think this company, Somnium Space, wants to create something live forever. So pretty much, yeah. So for example, like the the CEO thinks that, okay, if I die and I have a lot of data collected, right? And people can come, or my kids, they can just join it and talk to my avatar. Yeah, it's similar. I feel like the concept is the same. It's like, you know, by all the data you have in this world, if you can upload all the stuff to, I don't know, a certain place, and it will generate your avatar, and kind of mimic the way you talk, the way you think, and it becomes you, right? And people who know you and wants to talk to you, they can talk to you. It's very creepy, but I mean, I don't know whether this count live forever, and this well tied to another subject, which is what's the the meaning of life, or our soul, right? Do we have soul, and what's the difference between that AI person and versus us, right? If that AI person can perfectly interpret or substitute us, then I mean, are we being programmed by some other aliens, right? So that's my question. And yeah, I think this is pretty cool and a little scary, which is, people, like companies will gather all your data, right? And start creating something that is really, really scary, which is, start collecting all your data. And then later on, if you die, that avatar will, I don't know, replace you in the virtual world. Okay, so what do you think of this concept? And feel free to unmute yourself and share your thoughts.
This is ET. As you know, I work with cancer patients who are oftentimes terminally ill, and we have had the hospital and social workers and these legacy companies, you know, like the genetics companies that do your ancestry, do voice recordings and kind of storytelling and trying to collect photos, because these people know that they're not going to see, you know, their grandkids or be there for family. So I think this is kind of like the next step. The only question is who owns the data? You know, do you put it in your will? Can you sue somebody if they steal a picture of your grandfather and make him sell stuff that you don't want? You know? So even with using the voices, you know, if it's a famous person like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you know, the Supreme Court justice, the universities are putting that stuff together, but then there were the fake things that were going out. So I think, again, the technology is way ahead of the regulatory and the issues that people need to consider. You know, it's out there and it's happening, but we have to kind of, again, use common sense and social norms to make sure that it's used wisely.
Yeah, totally agree. Because I think that this is pretty scary because, you know, the virtual us will replace us after we die. Then I don't know, it just scares me. Yeah. So yeah.
I do know a lady in Arizona who's recording Native Americans to preserve their language. And at first she just started with audio, but now she's doing facial recognition and all that, and wants to create avatars to, again, keep the cultural heritage, you know, alive, and the native tongues and storytelling. So there are good ways to use it, but, you know, if you're going to use it and just to creep people out, or, you know, to sell stuff and make a buck and you have no relation to that person or business, you know, that's another story.
Yeah. I think this is just for me, what's the difference between a real human being versus AI generate, right? Because if you have all your data and AI can simulate you and very similar and follow your thoughts, right? Then it feels like, I don't know, it just, for me, it feels really awkward. And well, it consider wasting of your time to interact with that fake person, right? Because if someone die, you have to move on, right? You shouldn't, you know, just indulge yourself and talking to somebody that is generated by AI. I don't know. It's just me. Maybe people feel like this can kind of help them to, you know, I don't know, get through if someone die or something.
The other thing that comes to mind, you know, like with Houdini and all of that, you know, when way back in the day, before we had internet and phones and all of that, where people wanted to talk to the dead, you know, and they'd pay lots of money and hire spiritualists, you know. So there is a need when people are sad and lonely and, you know, missing their loved ones, or want to find out where grandma hid the money, you know. All that crazy stuff you hear about. So I think it's just a human nature thing. But I think, you know, again, the technology's out there. We have to just figure out how to use it and, you know, kind of make people realize that it's a two-way street. It can be used for good or bad.
Yeah. I personally think this is a little scary, but it's interesting. It's just I don't know. Yeah, maybe in the future there is a good way of implement it. But you know, if I die and some AI generate my data and fake my existence, I feel it's a little scary. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. It's your rights, you know, like you're creating an online school, but if you happen to get in a car accident, I steal all your data and say, oh no, she's here in class, you know, talk to her, blah, blah.
And nobody,
you know, I could really take advantage.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that, and you know, like the data misuse is already very common in this world, right? And especially if someone can fake and represent yourself as a virtual being. That's very scary. Yeah,
Yeah, but
instead of
I
just,
think
yeah.
I think the platforms are pushing that way. You know, my own company, we do interactive voice and human avatars for health and you know, for branding. So the next step would be, okay, those are live people, you know, those are live interactions. But what if you want to talk to the dead?
Yeah, right,
Or think
right.
you want to talk to the dead?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I can think that talking to the dead, right? It's more about I don't know. You kind of want to know what they really think instead of some, you know, some machine trying to generate. Yeah. So I don't know. I still feel like question mark for this one. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Prajali, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, overall, I think I'm not in support of technologies like these because, yeah, the emotional weightage on a person, like if they're not able to move on. Um, but in other scenarios, it's like everybody is then perpetually forever together. If that, but this is still the happy part of things, and in the sad part of things, as you mentioned, there can be a lot of issues with identity theft. And I am still not completely on the way of like trusting AI to lead and run my life and make decisions on my behalf. So yeah, I'm not yet ready for like this kind of solutions.
I was just thinking, I think you mentioned you work with esports, but can you envision someone taking like an old baseball player, soccer player, boxer, and creating an avatar and having them, you know, have their own blog or something?
Yeah, I mean, I work with Flexport. It's like into shipping and things. But the use case that you mentioned is pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants a player who is not even maybe who's still alive but retired, and they want to make their team stronger with using their skill sets. So I think that would be like a whole together different. We might have like XR and VR Olympics in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just I don't know, it's very advanced, very sci-fi and a little bit scary. And do we really want to live forever? I don't know. And do we want to actually physically die and that, you know, an AI generate ourselves virtually? And it's scary. For example, like I've already, you know, worked really hard and, you know, for example, build my reputation. However, if AI, you know, do something bad or something and destroy, you know, everything is like make me really bad, you know, after I die, and it feels, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So let's move on to the next news. Next news is on androidauthority.com, and the title is called Shocker. US teams don't care about the metaverse. It's very interesting, and this news was written by Matt Milano. Okay, so pretty much they did some survey about you know, how team respond about metaverse. Too long, just don't read. Okay, so let's see, like the short summarize. Survey shows US teams are unimpressed with the metaverse. And the second one is nearly half are uninterested and have no plans to purchase VR equipment. Okay, so it's kind of, you know, very interesting that why um, you know, we are so working so hard to push metaverse, right? And teens, which is our future, and we are building all the metaverse for them, right? We are doing Fortnite, like the world is creating, you know, in Fortnite, Roblox, and all those, you know, young people's gathering place. But according to surveys, it seems like only people who are older, mature, or, you know, people who are less, you know, yeah, like for me, it's very interesting to see this one. Is because we thought that we are creating virtual world for the next generation, right? The young people would love it, but they didn't buy it, right? And according to survey that they don't even want to purchase VR headset. Only 26% of US teams own a VR device, a critical component for interacting with Metaverse. Yeah, and of course, only 5% users use their VR device daily, while 17% use it weekly. So, it means that, and in the survey, it also says 48% of teens are unsure of their interest in Metaverse or are complete uninterested. Only 9% of teens are interested in and plan to purchase equipment, while 18% are moderate interested and may purchase equipment. Yeah, so it's very interesting that we thought or we built something really fun and thought teams will love it. However, it seems like, I think Wesley is trying to get in. Okay, that's way. Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting that teams doesn't even care. Okay, so what do you think about this shocking news?
I've been looking, at doing clinical studies with VR, but the cost and the availability is the gating factor. If I'm going to do a clinical study and I have to provide 60 units to patients, whether they're teens, let's say a diabetes study, I could do 18-year-olds all the way up to 60, 70 years old. I have to make sure that they have a product that works. The battery life is good. It's not super expensive because after the study, they'll have to buy it, if they want to continue using the program. And also, I think there's too many choices out there. The technology's changing and different form factors. You've had other speakers talk about what works, what doesn't work with the eye movement and all of that. So I think teens like seniors and other people with this high price, if you're spending $100 to put gas in your car, you're not going to go out and buy 4 VR things for your 4 kids, because they won't share. They want to put it together. and if they're like $400 or $500 a pop, it ain't going to happen. So I just think time will tell that they can bring the cost down, and the service and the battery life are the gating factors there. That the teens, you have to super impress them. They have to, or they'll tell us what they want. That's why you have to listen to them. And maybe a headset isn't the best way. If there's other G5 projection models or avatars or other things that they can work with that don't require a lot of extra hardware, maybe that's another option.
Yeah, I think that right now, like the cost of hardware is like something that is stopping teens from like trying out these things because they are not the ones who have access to a lot of and freedom of spending. But I think that with XR being popular, there'll be a lot of advancement in hardware as well. Like I look at it from the point of view, like when mobile was launched, a lot of teens did not have mobile phones, but like a lot of adults would have had because they were the ones who had access to money. So even with XR, I see the same kind of pathway wherein like the hardware will make improvements over time and it will become more affordable and more commonplace. So then at that point, I think it will be the teens who will have like more access to it.
Yeah, Wesley, I know you are trying to get in, and I know
Yeah.
there are some tech issues. I just give
Taken
you,
me half an hour. I
yeah,
started before 9. Why are we even using Zoom? That's my big question. Because Zoom is notoriously flaky with these windows that pop in and out of existence, whereas Gmeet does not do that. Gmeet is more reliable.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, it's fine. Okay. So, yeah, so this news is talking about shocking. US teams don't care about metaverse, right? So, yeah, so we were talking about, actually teams was unimpressed with metaverse, and nearly half are uninterested and have no plans to purchase VR equipment. I know while we are all putting all our efforts to build metaverse, but the young people seems not really interested in it. And yeah, which makes me wonder, like, how can we improve, or maybe it's like, what's the problem, right? Or maybe we are just very fascinated and living in our world, and we are not really knows what teams need, right? Or I feel like there's this connection between people who are older versus the teams, right? Because teams, they probably have some needs, and we probably don't really know, and we kind of keep working on something, but at the end teams won't buy it. It's very interesting point, and it's reality, right? So yeah, cool.
Maybe one reason that the teens aren't interested in metaverse is that metaverse cannot play. You can't play games in metaverse. Um, that's the thing. It really is well suited for games. That's one thing. Um, and the teens perhaps are also fascinated by like watching concerts, but that doesn't work well in. But the concert thing is not metaverse.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that probably is because the content is not kid friendly. So that's why, yeah, because you see fashion, right? Right now we have retail, fashion, and what else? We have some cool avatars. Yeah, but there's no fun game, right? And there's no, but all kids is in kind of Fortnite or Roblox. So maybe those two will kind of help, or Lego will work with Fortnite to create like kids metaverse. So maybe those will help kids to join. And besides, like I would say right now the headset, right? All the stuff is first too expensive, and second, it's too heavy and it might harm kids. It's not designed for kids, right? All the headsets. So you see, like for me, I couldn't really be in the VR headset for more than 40 minutes. So yeah, so I believe kids, they have smaller head, right? That have more, yeah. So I feel like right now all the metaverse things are designed for adults and kids. Maybe
Well,
there's an
well,
opportunity. Yeah.
didn't Epic and Legos,
Mm,
they just, and Sony, they just invested. I think we talked about this last week, the $2
yeah,
billion
right.
deal to do
Yeah.
things for kids. So maybe it's coming, but
Mm,
I also envision that Sony's going to have to create VR equipment that's acceptable to teens.
yeah.
Teenage girls, they want to show off their pretty eyelashes, they don't want to be covered up.
Yeah, right. And I would say, yeah, team, because metaverse is all about fun and games, imaginations. I believe teams will love it. It's just maybe too expensive, like equipment, and also, not enough kids friendly content, or not many, kids designed for kids equipment, right? All the headsets are chunky, big, and yeah, so I would say, yeah, maybe doing something customized for kids, then maybe it will help kids to get it. But on the contrary, I still feel like um since this is still being invented, I wouldn't say being invented, but it's just started, right? Metaverse. And then I feel like we probably need to get more research, and then so we can kind of ensure that kids can be safe here, because even if adults doesn't feel safe in metaverse, then kids might be even more dangerous, right? So yeah, so probably we need to create more kids friendly place for kids, for teams to get interested in joining it. Yeah. Okay, another one is in desertsun.com. And the title of the news is called NFTs Have Invaded Coachella Festival. And Coachella is this weekend. So by the way, and anyone with a wristband can claim one for free. So yeah, so it's very interesting that Coachella is integrating with NFT and make NFT. For example, if you buy a certain ticket, you can get NFT. So let me share with you 2022 in Boom fixed NFT. So if you are going to attend Coachella this weekend, you can, if you have a wristband or access, you can pretty much download the NFT app and claim all those cool flowers. I think, I don't know, I just think it's cool. But if you want to claim, you have to you have to download an app and claim, right? So yeah, I mean,
No, wait a minute, see, let's look at these like screenshots here of this app. All those things are why this may not be a good idea, because if they could just distribute these as JPEGs or GIFs. Yeah, because you see those images above there, right? The images of flowers are pretty, very pretty, but those things could just be JPEGs. They could just give them, and since they're giving these away, they could just give away JPEGs.
But JPEGs, it can be duplicated in a millions of copies, but NFT is limited, and it has smart contract. Yeah, have you ever?
Oh no.
NFT? Yeah.
No. The NFTs can be duplicated. NFTs can be duplicated because you ask yourself, what is the thing that you're looking at? The thing you're looking at is an image, not the digital code underneath it. See, the digital code can be made unique, but those things, the NFTs can be trivially copied, and that's the thing. In terms of the visuals, the end user, the UX.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they may make it as NFT, and Emily, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I think they basically just want to take your personal data, and after you leave Coachella, sell you a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
true.
if I went to a concert here, in at one of the venues in San Francisco, they used to give you bumper stickers, or they used to give you those lick 'em stick 'em tattoos, or those little pretty postcards. I had scads of postcards, and I used to take them to Europe and give them to my European friends because it was the Fillmore, right? And a recreation of the Grateful Dead stuff, and here in Santa Cruz, we have our own artists that are no longer with us, but the t-shirts and all of that had value. But Coachella to me is a big commercial enterprise. It's like seen and be seen, And I don't even think some of the bands that are there are that good myself. They're not my, it's not my kind of music. I'll go to a jazz festival before I go to Coachella, But I think the whole thing with NFTs are a money-making thing. And it does have traceability, so they can ping you at any time, and if you have an account, they'll just invite you to buy other stuff. But I can see the original flower children of San Francisco turning over in their graves, because what happened to love, peace, and joy, and everybody give everything for free? Here you're paying a price.
Well, actually, ironically enough, there's an unintended consequence, because the NFTs essentially are free. They try to sell them, or they will try to sell you some NFTs at high prices, but the resale value is essentially zero. That's what's been happening. It's just a bubble that's artificially inflated.
I personally think that the same thing. It's like, what's the difference between a JPEG versus NFT? NFT is totally overpriced, right? It's like 3,000, like Ethereum or something, and I don't know. I can just screenshot.
Well, I thought it started with artists, who created a unique image, and then every time that artwork sold, everybody got a piece of it.
Okay.
But I
hi.
don't know that that's the model for this Coachella stuff that's going on.
Actually, on that, real artists who make like real work, let's say physical like paintings or whatever, they have complained that their stuff is getting ripped off by other people who are copying it and then selling it as NFTs. That's one thing. But the other thing is just that we've had artists selling like authorized like physical copies, you know, like 300 copies, and each one is like numbered like 2 out of 300 or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had that for decades.
Yeah, the interesting thing, I totally know what you mean, because like a long time ago, a few hundred years ago, I think you can, do a lot of printing art, right?
Yeah.
And you can sign your name or artist name, and then you can, for example, 100 copy, and 1 out of 100, 2 out of 100, and it's limited. It's kind of like NFT, but in a
Yeah,
physical world. However, I feel like, I don't know. I still feel, what's the point of having NFT, which, like, yeah, if we can do the traditional way, why we need NFT? However, as far as I know, it's the ownership and scarcity because of the smart contract, right? Smart contract, it seems like it has some, I don't know, it's like a fancy stuff. So,
Well,
which
okay.
make it very
And also
expensive.
it's the perception of you having a souvenir of the event,
There
to
is
have
that.
it to hold forever and ever, and share it with your friends on your blog post or something,
Yeah. And to be honest with you, and also NFT, right? Because we thought that NFT can cross different platform, but I mean, if you buy an NFT in OpenSea, it's still in your OpenSea collection, right? And and if you buy 2D stuff, you can not take this to anywhere. It just stay in your collection, right? I don't know. I feel like NFT is kind of like we are trying to figure it out how to do it. But I think one of the smartest way is, I think, Gary Vee used this for membership for a high-end, I don't know, seafood restaurant in New York. So yeah, if you buy this NFT, you kind of get like a 1-year membership for that restaurant. So I think this is a smart way. And Gary Vee also said that artists can also sell NFT, their album cover as NFT. For example, if you buy this, you will get, I don't know, the physical something, right? And you will listen to the music. So this probably will be sold as part of the product, and then also shows you own something. And I also saw someone who was designing a 3D artist designing a bunch of 3D watch, right? Selling as NFT. And because the price is so high, it's like a 10K, 30K per one NFT watch. And he started thinking about creating a real one out of his design. And whoever owns that NFT, the person will receive a real watch and look just like the NFT.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it has to be
But this
tied to
one,
something real.
yeah, I feel like this one is kind of just like you say, yeah, it can be print out picture actually. And I feel like print out picture is much valuable, since this NFT only can exist in your app. And if it's print out, I can put on my wall, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Agree. Yeah, another one is called it's in glassy.co fashion. Okay, so DressX is going to put, actually there it's already happened, put their layer clothing feature in Roblox. So you can see this one, right? So DressX, in case you don't know what DressX is founded by a French, fashion designer. And the concept is that, a lot of social media influencers, right? They need to take beautiful photos. However, during pandemic, right? They couldn't go anywhere, and it's like the world just shut down. So this French fashion designer's idea is that instead of wasting a lot of materials, right, to create an actual clothes, why not just create kind of like some I don't know, AR filter for people to kind of just, if you put that layer on top of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can just dress something that is very creative without paying too much money, and also material waste. And later on it start involving becomes more like fashion in metaverse, right? Because it's kind of 3D, right? And they partner with a lot of like different companies, and they create kind of, I would say, the pioneer for metaverse fashion. So yeah, I think the concept is fabulous, because the reason why we dress is because we want to look good in front of people, like socializing, right? If we don't need to social, like for example, right now I'm wearing my pajama and wear glass, right? So I use this, right? But behind this is like, like, the laziness of myself, right? And I don't need to buy, a lot of cool, fancy clothing, right? And I can look good, right? So it's kind of like another concept of, metaverse, right? So yeah, so I think this is a pretty cool concept. Go ahead.
Because actually that touches something else. In terms of real like physical like clothing like dresses, there's a problem that people have commented on, saying is that we have too much clothing, most of us in the developed world.
Yes.
That now that the problem with clothing is that we're spending so much on these fabrics, and so this could be a way where, yes, on the metaverse you can make your own unique clothing, and when you want a physical, when you finally want a physical instance of it, you find some retailer who will print your your clothes for you, and that could end up saving a lot of money for the environment.
And closet space.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I'm a child of the 70s. So I used to buy clothes and make clothes. And in Arizona, I had Western wear, which I found out when I went to Germany was all the rage. People were buying it off of me as I walked down the street. And then I had an interesting thing. I was working for a banking company in Milan, and I had nothing to do after work. I got tired of going to the bars. I wasn't a big drinker. I didn't smoke. And so this lady would dress me up and let me stand in her window, and she put all of these crazy dresses, which, sometimes I couldn't even walk in them. I'm 5'8", I had long legs. I was very thin. I looked like Cher. I had the long straight hair.
Wow.
So I was like a Barbie doll, and I let her do it because I was having fun. I had never been exposed to that. But I mean, this was like thousands of dollars for a dress. And I go, who in their right mind would buy such a thing? And people do, but then you can only wear it once. She told me that she knew that her clients would buy the thing and only wear it once. Okay. And so now, everybody's got these secondhand stores and all of this. That would never have happened in my lifetime in the 80s or 90s. You did not buy used clothing in San Francisco when you're, talking to VCs or touting your internet company. You had to walk the walk and dress for success. But I see these hats, I see all this foo-foo stuff here, which now as a grandma in my virtual reality, hey, I could buy those NFTs and make myself look again like the Milan Barbie doll that I was at one time.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I would say, like those creativity, right? It's interesting that we are talking about this, but teams not really buying it. Yeah, because we thought like, oh, teams, they are probably the first adapter, right? Love new things. However, I feel like maybe because teams, they still depend on their parents, right? And probably, unfortunately, their parents probably more like millennials, and millennials are we all know that we are experience driven. So probably there are not many savings for Gen Zs or younger kids. So as far as I know that, because for us, we are millennials. I'm millennials. And then my parents, boomers, they are saving a lot of money, right? And so, millennials get the best education, and we are kind of carefree, and we are looking for a cool experience. However, when we raise our next generation, it ends up to be our next generation doesn't have enough support from millennials. And then they have to, as far as I know, a lot of college kids, they have to get a lot of part-time job just to pay the tuition. Unlike millennials, boomers pay a lot of people, like boomers, their parents pay a lot of stuff, but because millennials probably doesn't save a lot, so their kids have to get part-time job and trying to survive, right? So I find out that Gen Z is more entrepreneurial and very practical. Yeah, and they are more, realistic. Unlike millennial, I feel like it's a little fucked up generation. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think they're also more socially conscious. What Wes was alluding to earlier is that all of these rayon silky fabrics, are bad for the environment. They're not biodegradable. And if you
Yeah.
look at, like, she's wearing plastic glasses or metal pieces, and
Mhm.
when I was working in the 80s and 90s, I had a fur coat. And, and then my PETA friend said, hey, you cannot wear a fur coat in front of me, and actually my mother gave it to me and I gave it back to her, 'cause she lived in Phoenix. Why she needed a fur coat in Phoenix, I don't know. But I found out real quick that I wasn't going to wear it in San Francisco,
Yeah.
but see, that was the thing. We didn't think about animals being killed and
Yeah,
what it transcribes. And I think now the kids are saying, hey, I'm happy wearing my Nike's t-shirts and jeans. Look at Zuckerberg. He could have a whole wardrobe and you very rarely see him in a suit, but he wears a
Yeah.
hoodie and jeans, and that's kind of the norm. But if he were to have an avatar and his wife is a doctor, I'm sure she would love to, have a wardrobe, but she's got to wear her medical
Yeah.
garb, but in a virtual world in the metaverse or with their family, they could, strut their stuff and have all kinds of fancy outfits. So
Yeah, I think this is definitely environment friendly, right? And also, I feel like we open up another world, which open up a lot of possibilities. And yeah, and we are still exploring and trying to make it right. So yeah, so right now it's booming. So yeah, we just keep looking at the news and keep following up and see what's the most recent updates, and just feel happy to, I don't know. I really like a morning session because it's kind of brainstorm, right? And talk about a lot of ideas, and just to see what's out there, right? So yeah, thank you for joining me today, and hopefully see you all next week.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.